Welcome to Smutty Scriptures, the podcast where three best friends gather together to explore the holy texts of fantasy romance novels. I'm Head Priest Blue Cromwell, and I'm joined by my sisters in sin, Cuddlefish and Purple Space Cat, to tell you all about our thoughts in this episode's sacred text, which is the second Throne of Glass novel, Crown of Midnight, and we are picking up at chapter 15 through 34.
The end of 34.
The end of 34, correct. I think we're going to do this every episode.
Every episode. Every episode.
It's just one of our bits at this point, so.
You're welcome.
I'm fine.
Speaking of bits, I think we should just go right out the gate and say there was no ribbons. There was an opportunity for ribbons, and there was not one.
Oh, there was pieces.
They were not
There was a lot
ribbons.
of pieces, but no ribbons.
I will tell you one thing, no watery bowels yet.
There was
Sarah,
some toe curling, though.
We're looking for those words, those phrases. We know.
Do you know
We
there's
they're
a
coming.
filter? There's a filter for it on
TikTok. Yeah.
I laughed so hard. My husband was very confused. I was like, don't worry. He would never understand.
Is there a TikTok filter for why the cover of this book has her looking like a drow with silver hair, but instead she's actually, quote, golden? She has golden hair?
Well, I have
Which is
theories about
blonde?
that. I have theories about that because we know in the text, we know she's blonde. We know that's a thing. Though I will say for all of our listeners here who might not know what the cover of this actual novel looks like, I'm actually reading a re-release of the covers. I think both of you, right? Cuddle and Purple, you both are reading the edition right before mine, which does feature what is supposed to be the main character. And they very clearly are in like a selective color little filter here that does make their hair look very great. But I think I still have some weight. I don't know if you guys remember this on the first episode, but I think there's some weight behind the theory. I don't know. In my head, I'm like Elaine Tia, and then like this whole thing, like Elena, and like Selena. I feel like they're gonna become one at some point, and I just feel like that's when she's gonna get like the mystical kind of hair, you know. I don't know. I feel like it's Sarah too. There has to be Faye. So like you're gonna make your main character not Faye eventually. Like I expect a magical transformation, you know, to rival even that of Sailor Moon, who was Sarah J. Maas, spoiler alert, loves Sailor Moon. And there are some Sailor Moon themes in these books. So I do feel like she loves a good magical girl transformation. So we will see it. I genuinely believe that.
I mean, magical transformation aside, magical hair just gives me Mortal Kombat. What was that lady's name with the hair that whipped around?
I don't know.
Willow Smith.
No, wasn't it like...
I whip my hair.
I'm going to Google it. I whip my hair back and forth. I'm going to Google it. But
when it's 3 months into the podcast and you completely derailed.
Mortal Kombat hair lady.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to tell me, though, while she's looking for that?
No, not Melina.
Are you trying to...
What's up?
Yeah,
Sindel.
Yeah. Are you trying to tell me, though, that she gets a complete makeover, you think, with her third name? Is that it? Third time's the charm?
Technically, this is her fourth name. Because she's Selena, she's Lillian, she's Elaine Tia, and Aileen.
So
she also has last names. So
no, never heard
actually
of it.
More.
Also, Selena Sardothian might also not be her birth name from Terrace. So what you're trying to tell me then is it's a buy four get one free plus you get as a purchasing gift you get an additional makeover.
Yes, I will say.
Everything
hear me out.
must go.
I'm not sure about all of our readers here. Again, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler if you have not gone to the Akatar series. But every fucking character got a magical transformation. Feyre, Nesta, Elaine, whether it was against their will or not, they got all transformed and all pretty. And then Feyre and Nesta get transformed twice. They get transformed twice. They get more pliant bones so they can have babies. Like, you know.
And then Elaine got a whole half of personality.
Okay, listen.
Crazy.
You're going to regret saying this when that next book comes out and you fall in love with her. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
But
you know what? We're not there yet. We're on a crown of, what is this? Midnight.
Midnight. You're not wrong.
It's a completely different Bible. I mean, sacred text.
Of course. Goofies. All right, well, what are we thinking? We were about a little bit over halfway now in this book. Have our general impressions kind of changed from the first half? What are we feeling with this? I have heard, Cuddle, that you have some controversial opinions. I'm not sure what's about this particularly, but I'm ready to hear them.
I mean, I passed the torch to you. I had all of the controversial things last time. Now it's your turn.
Ooh, it's my turn next.
Okay. You want me just to go straight out to the gate?
Just dive in.
I am glad Nehemia is dead.
Okay, welcome to the last episode of Smutty Scriptures. Thank you all for listening. We'll be heading out now.
It gets worse.
What do you mean?
I guess, okay, so I'm glad she's dead. She needed to die. I never trusted her. She was a horrible friend. Asked for way too much from Selena, and honestly was a little manipulative. And I feel like that's like kind of a good thing for Selena that she's gone.
This is going to be our first fight on the podcast.
I hate it. I hate everything about this.
Yeah. First of all,
yeah.
How dare you?
Okay, hear me out.
Okay,
hear me out.
I guess.
Now, I am not denying. I'm not denying that Nehemia was a boss ass bitch, right? Mm-hmm. I feel like we all can agree. I think that Nehemia was a lying, scheming character.
When did she lie?
Okay, she knew the whole time who Dorian was as far as his magic was concerned. And she never told him until she did that magical word drawing thing.
She offered him help, bro.
No, she did. No, she kind of forced the magic to appear because she was more worried and concerned about saving her own country and people than she was about Dorian and himself and Selena and herself. That's why.
Wait, no. You are saying that she's wrong for putting her entire country and people ahead of these two individuals she just met a couple months ago?
I mean, she's kind of in charge of the safety and welfare of her people. It's kind of in the job description.
But have you considered Dorian's feelings?
Ew. Like, I am. I don't think she did.
Well, it's really nice having a podcast, and I gotta say,
okay. So, first of all, she also knew about the word marks. She lied to Selena like so many times about, oh, I don't know, and like put off about the door and like the eye in the fucking dungeon or whatever. Didn't tell her. Went behind her back. Went to go have a conversation with Elena. Where they had this like little plan where she's like, you know what you have to do, and then boom, she's dead.
That was her agreeing to die for Selena's benefit. And she protected her the whole time.
That's a heckin' sacrifice.
It's selfish.
It's, oh my God.
A sacrifice is selfish.
You know what? Hold on. We got to get into this.
Tell me you're raised by a narcissist without telling me you were raised by a narcissist.
Oh my God, Mommy Issues Part 2?
Stop it.
No, I'm sorry. But I have to get into this. Purple, I want to hear your general impression after this, but I need to just jump ahead a tiny little bit because we're going to have a lot of words about one of these scenes. Because I was, reading and I was thinking about the podcast and, I keep in mind our subjects as we go through. And,
It's an interesting thing to call our readers or listeners.
Subjects?
Our subjects, yes. Our loyal subjects. When I was reading, when I got to the part, and I'm sure I bookmarked it here, the section where Nehemia is calling Selena out. This is going to be chapter 24. For me, that is it's around the 200s here. 206 is where it ends in the holy text.
20 what? Sorry?
24. Very end of 24, right before 25. I'm going to tell you something right now. I picked Nehemia for my favorite character at this line, that you are a coward, you are nothing more than a coward. Because Selena needed to be called out, in my opinion. And I think Selena is very selfish. And I think, again, you know what? She has a very powerful position. Obviously, she's telling her here, you have all of this time. You have a very weighty goal here, of your freedom. And obviously that is important to you as an individual, but you are a very powerful person to be able to actually help people who are in need, especially since you were in a fucking slave camp like fucking a year ago, tops. And I just felt like this chapter, to me, I was like, this is like, before everything else that happens with Nehemia, I was like, this is my favorite character. Because Selena needs that. Selena can't hide from this forever.
No, but the end of this chapter, their whole fight was kind of pushy.
Yeah, but she's like, I can't. Like, Selena's going through a lot, and she doesn't want to do the king's bidding and stuff. Like, she's struggling with it, and she, gets kind of like, he almost gives her an ultimatum, basically saying, unless you start lying and putting yourself in danger, I can't be friends with you anymore. And I just don't vibe with that. Like, nobody around the king wants to be doing what they're doing. And I felt like it was kind of unfair for Nehemia to ask that of her at this point. And I also did not like, this chapter stood out for me also, and this conversation stood out for me also, but in a very different way, because I was like, wow, bro, like, she is doing her fucking best. Chill out. I understand you got some problems, but like, if I'm honest, that kind of seems like a you problem because it's your country and we've got other shit to deal with also. So like, calm down.
Bro.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a horrible person.
There's no way. I mean, like, because it's just like so... Because it'd be one thing, like, obviously, the whole plight of Nehemia's people is not necessarily Selena can maybe personally identify with, right? But at the same time, she even says, if Endovir and the plight of my people cannot move you, what will? If fucking being tortured for months at a time by this horrible, horrible person isn't enough to inspire the seed of disrespect and to not have, maybe more, at this point, like blind obedience. Obviously, we know Selena has not been actually killing all of these people.
But she still said all those things even after she found that out. So even after she's finding out that she is being disobedient, she is putting her neck out there on the line to find all of these other what do you call them, like, against the rebels.
Sure.
She's finding this group of rebels or whatever in town. She has no idea that Nehemia the entire time has been involved in that exact group that she's trying to find. And she's told at that moment, which would have been a wonderful opportunity for Nehemia to speak up and say something. She even asks specifically about Archer. So if this was really about her wanting to team up with Selena, that's the moment that it should have happened. And Nehemia kept her mouth shut.
No, but it couldn't have happened because she calls her out and she says, I didn't realize that you were just doing that to keep your conscience clean. You're not doing it because you're disobeying him. You're not doing it out of helping anyone. You are doing it strictly for Selena. You are doing it strictly for your own conscience. So why would you involve somebody at that point? If you're going to call them out and be like, hey, well, I thought that was like a sign of like maybe if Selena was like, yeah, dude, I'm doing that because, like, fuck the king, man. He sucks. Maybe Nehemia would be like, cool. Well, let me tell you a little something. But instead, she's like, oh, so you just haven't been killing them because you're not really, like, feeling it? You don't want to have, like, a bad dweem later? Like,
no, that's...
I think this is, like, a case of they're both kind of being dicks. They're both being pushy. They're both being dicks. They're not being very good friends to each other, and I think it boils down to fucking not communicating. That is the most irritating thing to me, is people fucking not communicating. If they had just shut the fuck up and actually sat down like civilized people and had a goddamn conversation, this would not have happened.
But she didn't have time for that. She had to die next chapter. She's like really busy.
Well, but it also kind of seemed like right whenever Selena's like finally happy and she's expressing, oh my gosh, like all these things, Nehemia's just like stab. And she's like, wow, like cool that you're happy. Have you thought about the millions of people who aren't happy? And it's like, come on, bro. Like you can't even one fucking day where you just have this conversation and you're like happy for your friend. You want to manipulate her into doing like freeing your country. Wait, but then now in Nehemia's defense, I feel like Selena gets really defensive and then she kind of backs herself into a corner and like she always falls apart whenever there's confrontation. And then she starts saying like some crazy ass shit. Every fucking time there's confrontation, she's like, what do you, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, girl, what the fuck? Shut your mouth. Like, that's not what you actually
Sounds like
mean.
an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, who would have thought?
So, but like we know that Selena is, wanting to not support the king and all his bullshit, but she doesn't want to say that to Nehemia because I don't fucking know. But she doesn't communicate well, which I think goes into Purple's point. So
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how Selena reacts to all of this as well, too. I think that could play out in a certain type of way.
I hate the trope of they have to break in order to rise above whatever they need to rise above. Why? Why does everybody always have to break before they can be? No, that's brainwashing.
Okay.
And it's just not kind. But why can't people be kind?
But like,
form care.
Selena has all the tools to not have her die. Bro, she has like a literal like interaction with like basically like some type of like god, spirit, goddess, whatever. And she's still like, damn, I ain't doing that shit. So I don't know. Maybe Selena is the type of character that needs to go through some shit because she had the tools. She was the main character, living her main character moment. I have a feeling I know what we're doing for Bay of the Day, but
I'm just gonna be grumbly in the corner. I'm like, no. But I don't know. I just think it was just a little selfish. That's all.
Sure. Do you have any other impressions? Or obviously that's pretty much the standout part of this like section. But do you have anything else as far as like a general?
Like you have this whole love arc with Kale.
True.
And there are definitely some thoughts that like there's pieces in here where she describes him and I'm like, don't do a fucking mate. Don't be a mate. Don't be a mate. And she says, where is it?
There's like a golden chain attaching them to each other.
Yeah, something like that.
She's said a couple of times from both of their perspectives, not just hers.
I dislike.
I love the cake.
Yeah, the cake was cute.
I was like, yes, cake. I'm here for it. Cake is necessary.
Love that. Yeah.
Here it is. I'm just trying to find where 189. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I think our pages are at least the same.
Yeah, they should
be. Covers are different.
This scene for all of our people following along. Chapter 23. This is when they are in a broom closet. Or no, they're in a bedroom here.
Yeah, they're in the bedroom. But I loved how he kissed all of her scars. I thought that was like, it's gross, but like it's super sweet. I can't find the other one. I'll find it and I'll have to say it in a minute. You're like, yeah, it was page whatever when she said.
What about you, Purple, then, while Cuddle's looking for that? As far as your general...
some motherfucking shit happened. There's so much that happened. I was just like, oh, okay. Oh, more things. Things. But okay, lady with iron teeth.
Yes.
So this was not something that my mother told me about when I was a child. Is this because of lack of brushing, overbrushing? And why are her nails also iron? You got iron nails, iron teeth, which apparently never puncture her tongue or her lips. Or could you fucking imagine biting your lip on accident? Or you trying to be sexy, you're just like, and then you just, sorry, don't mind me. I'm just gonna bleed all over myself. It's total, no, I can't do teeth. And
sure.
I found that page.
Go ahead.
Page 211, bottom paragraph is whenever I feel like they're going into the fated mates section. She says in the scripture, it reads, his holy soul was bound to hers by some unbreakable chain.
Until.
And then I was like, no.
No, please.
Don't do it. But yes, the teeth.
Yes, teeth. I kind of love that she was Baba Yaga, but Baba Yellow Legs.
Yeah, that was a little on the nose. I'm going to be honest, Sarah. I appreciate it, but it was a little...
I kind of love it because I feel like so many Sarah J. Maas characters, or at least the ones that I have come in contact with up to this point through ACOTAR, and then now the first and second book of the series here, Throne of Glass. Yeah. They're almost like all really fucking hot, really pretty. Very rarely do we get like these creepy, ugly characters. Like, and the ones that we have, I fucking love them. Either the cereal. Oh, so good. I love the cereal.
Iconic.
And I love the witch in the woods, right? In the other, I forget what we called her, but I loved her.
The Weaver?
Yeah, the Weaver. She was like gross, but like not really gross.
Yeah.
Because
rude.
even Paraxis was just scary, but not even creepy. Like it was just dark cloudness.
Yeah, the void.
So you can't really say that one's like. Then you had Lanthus, which was also described as really hot. So you can't really say that. And then you had the
thing in the lake.
Yes.
In A Court of
Did
Seven
not
Flames.
like that one, actually. That gave me some very scary thoughts. But then you even have the Bone Carver was described as like a child or whatever. You know, like it's very cute, happy thing. I love whenever Sarah's like, let me rip off my gloves here and give you something that'll really fucking scare you. And she's good at it because that was a very vivid picture in my brain, to which I was like, oh my God, get away from her. She's going to eat you. Like it was very The Last Unicorn.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's giving me Mama. What was her name? Mama something. Please hold. I shall Google Last Unicorn.
But it was I imagined that character in my head, but with these teeth. And whether that's accurate or not, I think it's a brilliant characterization of that character, and I loved it.
Mommy Fortuna.
Yes, Mommy Fortuna from The Last Unicorn.
She was giving very Mommy Fortuna vibes.
Sure.
And I was here for it.
Yeah, I liked the whole character. I was just like, okay, Baba Yellowlegs, like,
Yeah.
like the name itself was on the nose, but the character I appreciated. I thought that was interesting by all means.
I have to say, whenever I saw the name the first time, I didn't say Yellow Legs. I said Baba Yaga in my head, because I rename everybody anyways. And then my brain immediately went to John Wick.
Yeah.
Because he's
They call him
Baba Yaga. And I was like, wait a minute, did they see John Wick at the carnival?
He just sitting there,
Wow.
iron teeth, iron nails.
I take it back. I'm okay if she makes them hot as long as they're Keanu Reeves.
Damn, Baba Yaga.
Is that the
Keanu
fan
Reeves
cast?
funded. Oh no.
Oh my God.
All right, Kiana, we want you to play this old witch lady. Also, can I say, yes, break me open and suck the marrow out? Yes, mommy, please.
I thought you were going a different direction there with that sentence.
With how she's eating the chicken legs. I was like, God damn.
Going in.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
You leave no stone unturned here. We need some of this energy in other places of the book.
One day, Smutty Scriptures will live up to their name.
Monday?
Someday.
Don't listen. I'm so pissed off that it's Fade to Black. We'll get to that in a minute. So pissed off.
I heard it gets better in the third and fourth book, so hopefully that continues. But we'll see.
So other general impressions. It's kind of irritating to me how Prince Douchebag has magic, and it's not like specific. It's just like, I'm gonna throw books at myself. And
I thought it was funny.
I was a little upset that he put them back haphazardly, but that's just the person in me who hates things being out of order. And I thought the stone wall breaking thing was kind of cool. But it's just, it's frustrating how he's got magical powers, but like they're not consistent. We've seen consistent magical powers in other, Sarah stuff.
Yeah.
That's frustrating. They did kind of mention about our main lady having possible magic powers of moving really quickly. Because she like legit outran a horse.
And an ancient one. Right? No, not that one.
Yeah. Well,
that one, sorry.
She describes herself as ancient once. And then she describes, She did that once. I
Where
was
did she
like,
do that?
really? You have ancient eyes? The ancient thing inside of you? You're ancient? And then
Oh.
she described the horse's eyes as ancient. I was like,
I don't.
So all I'm
okay.
hearing is that Selena plays Barbie Horse Adventure.
Yes.
Ah, maybe
remember
we
when-
just don't have access to a thesaurus.
When does she say that she's got ancient eyes?
Is
I
that
don't
when
remember that.
Kale is gifted the horse? Maybe.
No, I think it was like when she was in the prison. I'm gonna look it up.
I loved the witch thing. I want to know more about that because it's I don't know, it just was super intriguing. Like I want to know more about these like witches and I would totally fucking read a little mini novella or something that kind of went through their history because that sounds cool shit. Like I just want to like a little lore book on the witch kingdom and the Cochrane dynasty and all that. Like I thought that shit was fucking cool shit.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. I love the creativity with that. And not making them like she has a wart on her nose and they're all really pretty in the daytime and then like you know what I mean? I like the fact that they've got fucking iron teeth, bro. Like that's cool as shit.
Yeah. What if that was just
and
a really creative way of saying braces?
Oh, don't ruin it.
I'm sorry. She's
She's
sitting there, braces.
They've all got lisps and acne.
I was actually thinking about what rust would be like.
Would you like me to read your voices?
Oh no. Dorian's just like, never mind. It's okay. Actually, that's wild. Yeah, it would be nice to get some backstory on her. But honestly, we still have a decent chunk of the book left. We still have 20 or so, 21 or so odd chapters. So maybe she'll have some future appearances. Could be fun if we run into her again. Maybe get some more info. It did kind of allude to the we think she's older than what she said, like after her like, stories or whatever.
I don't remember where this other ancient thing was. She describes herself as ancient. I know Dorian described the thing inside of him as ancient, and then she also described the horse's eyes as ancient. Because I was like, "Wow, girl, you saying you're like a horse? Are we saying the horse is magical? My God, is it a magical horse?"
Not the
and I was
magical
like, "Oh my
horse with
God,
the
was
magical
Sarah?"
girls.
I was like, "Is Sarah a horse girl?"
God, I mean, hey, whatever she's gonna do. But yeah, as far as the ancient thing, I'm not really seeing that too much. Were you looking for any particular section, Cuddle?
I'm trying to find a favorite part, and I can't. Again, I don't really have one.
That's fine. You're not gonna say Nehemiah's death just to be that guy. You
No.
can. I'll allow it. Everyone has to have their
No.
moment. That's fair. I would say for me, one of the things I liked, it's not a smaller moment, but I really liked the moment that Selena received the letter about Kale being in trouble, which is chapter 27, approximately page 215. I really liked the moment of every one of the restraints she's locked into place after she rampaged through Endovir Snap 3, and icy, endless rage swept through her, wiping away everything except the plan that she could see with brutal clarity. The killing calm. I'm just really here for female rage.
Yes.
And I felt like that whole section, I really enjoyed it because I can't remember if it was the first half of this book or if it was the last book that we were like, okay, you're like this crazy talented assassin. Let me see it. I felt like this is the first taste of like, okay, I'm going back to like old me and I'm kill 20 people in a few minutes. I don't give a fuck. And like, it's probably not great of me to love that so much. But just the rage, just the fact that we're finally seeing like a little bit of what Selena is capable of. Cause like you said, too, one of her first jobs, cause she had killed that, person in his office when she found that word mark book. And she was like poisoned and walked back. And then she's like, oh my God, I'm like sick as fuck. Like that was not sorry, Selena, not a very good first impression for us as readers to your assassin ability. I mean, which would be fine normally if you hadn't like claimed to be like the best assassin of all time and every character is like hyping you up. But it was nice. It was nice to see some protectiveness over Kale And it was nice to see the female rage, and it was nice to see her actually being an assassin.
Badass motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn. I love how Carol was just like, oh no, it's not me.
Watch
It's
out.
her.
Yeah.
She gonna fuck you up.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I don't have to leave these chains. You're all gonna die. Oh, bad things are gonna happen to you here. You are really in for a surprise, he goes.
Yeah, I love that. I do remember saying like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for her. Like, oh, show me, Boo, show me all your like ninja skills and shit. And I was like, that you almost die, like you.
Yeah.
Or do we need training wheels to get back in the saddle? Like, what's going on here? And then, yeah, I loved also just the writing. I think of that section, the way that that Sarah paced up to that. And how she kind of unwound the urgency leading up to her booking it to Kale's room. I really liked that. It felt very natural of how, like, it made me want to be like, oh my God, I got to read faster, because it was like, oh shit, like something's actually bad happening. And
right.
I loved that. That was really good. It was very masterfully written.
Yeah, I really appreciated it. I know a lot of people say, like the writing of these books like progressively gets better, and I feel like we're like on a ramp up into third and fourth book, because a lot of people seem to say like they prefer that even to like the ACOTAR books, which is what we obviously loved. But I'm very I'm ready, Sarah. I'm trying not to go in overhyped for the rest of these books, but the writing is getting there. It's kicking off, so I'm ready. I'm ready to be impressed. You know, I'm ready to get my heart ripped out of my chest.
Did you guys?
Oh, you found it?
Yes. If you turn in our scriptures to page 233, which is the very first page of chapter 30. This is whenever she discovers Princess Nanana being all dead and shit. And she says she just stayed there, letting the others fan out around her as they rushed to assess the 3 cooling bodies in the room. That ancient, ageless drum, her heartbeat pulsed through her ears, drowning out any sound. So she described herself as ancient.
Ancient, ageless drum, her heartbeat. Interesting. Okay.
I almost, when she's in this like female rage, kind of hulked out version of her, I almost get like extreme disassociation.
Sure.
I know it's supposed to be powers, but like, are we suggesting that there's powers in mental health conditions? Because I'm here for it. Honestly.
Yes.
If depression could give me like some superpowers, or anxiety could give me heightened senses, like yes, give me all of it. I am literally more powerful than Superman. So
it's not executive dysfunction. It's actually my superpowers taking over and redirecting my ancient magical energy to something that's more important for my survival.
Right. Exactly.
And I just love this journey for me.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that. She definitely becomes very different. She's like, there are 3 things I know. That Kale is gone, that I'm gonna fuck some people up, and fine dining. That's all. That's all she's got. That's all she's got. Maybe her 4 names. She keeps those handy.
Yeah. My favorite scene was definitely whenever Carol was talking to his captors and saying, "No, you it's not me. It's her.
Don't worry about me."
So that was my favorite part so far.
Sure.
And just like the faith that he had in her. He was just like, "Oh no, you got this, man."
Yeah. Well, I know you didn't really necessarily have a favorite cuddle. I'm assuming that you might have 1 or 2 moments as your least favorite.
I definitely have that. I would have to say, I think if I had to pick like one moment, it was when he went to go get her chocolate cake. And like the first time, when on page 146, if you turn in your scriptures, I don't know what chapter that's in, but they're both like I like how in the beginning when they start describing their relationship and how it's becoming more intimate and stuff, he's just so damn sweet, and I really like that, and I not just for her, but in general, I like the description, and I guess it kind of speaks to, what kind of partners I like having.
Mhm.
But the fact that he just gets up to go get the cake and doesn't bitch, he doesn't, give her a hard time. And he's just like, no, I'm going to go get that for you because that's what you want. And she's just like, okay, I love that. And I think it's very, very sweet. It's very endearing, and it's a minor part, but I think that's the little things that often get overlooked that are important to show your partner that you love them.
Whenever I read stuff like that, though, like on that same page 146, she's doing a little bit of inner dialogue, and she said, it could rise again if we could find more men like him. It just seems to me like she likes the idea of what he is and what he represents more than she likes him specifically. So it might be, like the writing. It may be like the age of the author at that point. Or maybe she really actually doesn't love him specifically. Maybe she really just likes the idea of having men be better.
Sure.
I'm not trying to male bash, but maybe she reads too many books like us.
Well, I think there's a certain element of, sorry, just real quick, where she hasn't really experienced good people very often. Like okay, so her parents gone, didn't really have much relationship with them, probably. Yeah, hate to see it. Then she becomes an assassin. Things happen that are not great that whole time. Like,
Assassin daddy.
It's her lifestyle in a way. I think she's probably just awestruck by how good he is. But what were you going to say, Cuddle?
I was just going to say, if you go down 2 more paragraphs, she says that she and Kale would never be a normal boy and girl. I find it weird that she calls them boys and girls, by the way, but whatever, we're going to move on.
Sure.
But perhaps in that world, they could make a life of their own. She wanted that life because even though he'd pretend nothing had happened after the dance they shared last night, something had. And maybe it had taken her this long to realize it, but this man, she wanted that life with him. So I see, yes.
It's
I think
with
she's
him, not with him.
I see your point, but I think that she's young and naive. I definitely feel that. But I don't want to cheapen what they have at that point. Because we've all been there. We've
First
all
marriage, what?
we've all had those kinds of relationships, but that doesn't mean that what you felt wasn't real, and it doesn't mean that you didn't have a connection with that person.
Sure.
It just means that person probably wasn't right for you forever, which is why I don't want them to be mates. But I don't want to say that like him getting the cake and stuff, like, well, but like it's not really love, because it's a form of love. Sure. I think it's almost her finding, I feel like he's a catalyst for her to love her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, almost like her first experience, like getting what she deserves out of a person, a partner.
Would maybe second because of Prince Dorian?
I think Prince...
Yeah.
Third because of Sam.
Well, Sam was apparently good. I don't know about Dorian.
Sam apparently was perfect.
King.
There's a lot of her, like Kale versus Sam in here. They're trying really, really hard to draw that parallel. I wish we knew Sam's story a little bit better, or had some kind of snippets or a flashback to kind of go along with her on that journey, but I just feel so disconnected from Sam.
Yeah.
But I don't feel disconnected from Kale, and I see this and I think that these are very like loving behaviors, and I love that she's kind of finally understanding what it feels like to be loved in that way, and like hopefully trying to fix it in her mind where she feel like she deserves them.
Yeah.
And then right after that, another piece that it's the same, well, next page, 147.
Sure.
I also flagged that one and said that she didn't want to disturb him, and then she brushed her fingers through his short hair and grazed them along his cheek. And I just felt like there's small gestures, but I feel like they're ones. She did.
She was like,
sweet
"You're so
gestures.
wonderful. I'm taking the cake."
Queen.
But it's like a sweet level of intimacy that we get to see there with both him being, serving her with the cake and her affectionately touching him. And those are both like love languages, right? And it's sweet, and I like the sincerity. It's a lot different than some of the other smuttier pieces that I also rather enjoy. But I like that she's also included some very sincere ones. That's all.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Blue, did you have a least favorite part? Which one was yours?
Kind of going off of that, actually. I would say, I appreciated the relationship between Kale and Selena. But obviously we get to the end of chapter 31, which is about 245 in the scripture. And I wouldn't say it's a least favorite. Like, I wouldn't change it, but it did make me feel something because I was like, oh, well, I don't think that's going to work out anymore. Just the final two lines of he had lost her and she would never in 1,000 lifetimes let him in again. I do believe he is right. I don't know if these two are going to recover from that. Maybe to become friends. Maybe where Selena won't instantly want to murder him upon sight. That could be fun. Because he didn't know, obviously.
Romance has been built on less.
You're not wrong. But, it felt like a breakup in a way. And it was messy. And it was hard to see Selena in love and losing her virginity. Hate that. But whatever, go off.
I love that consent, though.
Yeah,
yes.
Hey, we love that. But,
Consent
to see that
sexy.
relationship build and how important those two are to each other. To see it lost in such a way is sad. Again, would I change it? No, I don't think. I didn't think Hale was like endgame necessarily. But it's sad to see it go. It's sad to see it go because I don't know what that means for Selena.
I'm telling you. Communication.
No.
I don't think... I honestly don't think that it'll be salvaged either. I'm with you on that one. And I don't think it should be salvaged. I think, communication. But I think on a fundamental level... Again, I think they're both good for each other in passing seasons, not for a lifetime. They're not, and that's okay. It's okay to have relationships that are only there for a season, as long as you can recognize that and you can move forward. I don't think there's anything wrong with both of them being able to learn something about themselves and what they deserve and what they like and what they don't like, and be able to move forward in a positive direction for the rest of their lives. That's still a valuable relationship to have had. And I think they both did that. He's really having to struggle and come to terms with whether he's more loyal to himself and his heart or this position that he finds himself in the court. And that's a struggle that he needed to have brought to light in order to grow as a character and grow as a person. And Selena did that for him. And I think that that's a really valuable piece.
So I know we usually talk about this a little bit later, but I think that they're not going to get back together. But I think that he's also not going to live without her. I think that something is going to happen to where he has to lay down, he has to choose his loyalty, and he has to lay down his life for Selena Gomez. And
after the breakup, you think?
I think he's going to be like, look, I really didn't know. I'm like, legit sorry. I know you'll never forgive me, but it doesn't matter. I love you, and I'm going to die now. Okay, thanks, bye. And then she's going to be all like, oh, and he meant it. Moving on.
Sure.
And he's going to get got. But that's going to be like a redemption thing. Or he's going to choose his loyalty to her and stuff. And then he's going to get dead.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I see him dying. But, I didn't see Princess Nehemia dying, so...
I did.
Poor Princess Nanana.
But yeah, I'd say that's my least favorite part. It's bittersweet. It's growth. you're never with the first person you date, Selena. Okay, you're gonna eventually you grow, most likely. No hate to the listeners who have been, you date the same person since high school. That's great. That's fantastic. But a lot of the times, that growth is not always a steady chart up. Sometimes you need to experience different things to different people.
So would you say Princess dying was what surprised you the most?
I would say, yeah. I wasn't expecting it. I actually bookmarked not a particular section, but just the entirety of chapter 25, because I was like, what are we doing here? Obviously, there was kind of this implication of one of them has to break, blah 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 blah, and whatnot. But I did not think with how Princess Nanana's her importance to her people and her mission that she would die at this point in the story, especially in such a brutal way. So yeah, I was surprised by that. Did you guys see it coming?
I mean, I definitely did not see the complete redecoration of her chambers.
That's one way to say
herself.
Ribbons everywhere.
No, not ribbons. I think it was specifically called pieces.
Oh, too small to be ribbons.
I kind of thought something was going to happen whenever, I was tipped off in chapter 25 on page 207 in the scriptures when they're talking about which one of them has to break and, oh my gosh, all these things. Do you understand? I was like, oh shit. All right. So we're either going to kill one of the two or we're going to kill ourselves. And then when it was we need to have a private meeting, I'm going to need you. And I was like, okay. Well, that's that. So that's cool. Somebody's dying. I think it's her.
She's a martyr, though. Our people in chapter 33 were really instant rebellion.
What did you think of that? The flip to the unknown people in the mines. Mm-hmm. I thought that was powerful as shit when she's when the worker added her name to the list. Same with the fucking singer. Oh, I got goosebumps when they executed her.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Can you talk if that was a movie or some shit, Oscar worthy right there. That would be the moment.
Chills.
That would be incredible.
Yeah.
I loved that. I did not love that, but I loved the way that it was written. It was very powerful.
Do not turn for her.
Oh my god, yes. Girl boss.
Slay queen.
Yes.
No. Wait, go back. Yeah, I love the way this piece of the book is written. I guess I think I love it so much. I tell you what I don't love though. I do have a significant least favorite, and that would be on 173 in chapter 2021, the end of chapter 21, when Selena is super sad because parents dead, 10th anniversary, sad.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Kale's like, how can I fix it? And for a minute, he says, with my penis. And I was like, I swear to God, Kale, if you do that, I swear to everything that is holy. Yeah, because then he's just like, oh, I'm realizing where my hands are. He's like, I shoved that feeling down, even as the silken texture of her hair against his fingers made him want to bury his face in it, and the smell of her, laced with mist and night, had him grazing his nose against her neck. Boy, if you don't fucking calm your shit, listen, if that had been me, I would have kneed him and kicked him the fuck out. Don't fucking come and be like, my parents died, bro.
He said that you could call me daddy, ain't no problem.
So,
wow. No. So much no.
If she kept touching him like that, his control was going to slip completely. That is not the time
consent
for you to have fucking sexual tension. Read the damn room.
No, he's illiterate.
The fuck,
gross.
Sorry. All right, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm better now. I just hated that part.
I was like, Star Trek does. I know that we're not talking about it, but Star Trek does the same fucking thing. Like, I can't stand watching the original Star Trek seasons because they fucking did the same thing. Every single problem was I could fix it with my penis. And I'm like, dear God, find you. This is all about science. Find a different way to solve your problems.
That's biology, baby. It's still science.
Oh God.
I'm sorry.
No.
Gross.
I'm on my fuckboy shit tonight, I guess. I don't know.
All right, so that fuckboy shit is my least favorite character.
Nice. Okay. You know what? Fair. I'll leave. You guys have a nice night.
Who is your favorite and least favorite? We already know you don't like Princess Nanana.
Yeah, no, she's my least favorite character. Favorite character I think is Selena. Honestly, I just really loved the female rage moments and her kind of coming into her own. I also enjoyed thoroughly if you go back to page 118, 119, this theme kind of traveled throughout the section here where we have on one hand, we have this connection with Kale and they're looking at each other and they're smiling and they have this connection. And then it switches to the POV of Dorian. And at the end, he says that she never looked at me like that. And he says that he has to let her go. And I loved it's almost like a metaphor for character growth. Because we have Dorian being like the past self, and we have Kale being the self that is initially, going into this growth, and being the better version of them. And I just loved the metaphor that it carries throughout the section whenever they're looking at Baba Yaga and what have you. And they're both still protective over her. And I think that's fine. But I really enjoyed that. So it's hard for me to not say Kale or Dorian because of the parts that they're playing in this.
Okay.
But I think what they're doing for Selena makes Selena's growth so much more prevalent. And that I'm enjoying quite a bit.
Okay. I could see that. I'm gonna flop your least favorite character to my favorite.
No way, that's
Princess
crazy.
Nehemia. Ha, ha, ha. I really, obviously for what we've already discussed, I appreciated everywhere that character was taken. Besides the end there, necessary probably for the progression of the political plotline, but I appreciated where that character went as far as a favorite. A least favorite? I don't know if I really had anything too substantial. I will say I was disappointed that Kale did not alert her to the situation, even before I knew what was going to happen. It's kind of suspicious, Kale. Like, isn't a red flag maybe flashing really quickly? Like, oh, you want to meet there, and I gotta keep it a secret, especially from this one person who is like who will go into a fit of rage when they see them gone. Like, again, I'm not sure how much is related to that, how much is related to this. Did Princess Nehemia die as like a sacrifice? Did she have a sacrificial death and then someone came in to sacrifice, like, not really sacrifice, but decimate her body? Like, I don't really know the details necessarily, but I do think, like, Kale, man. Kale. Like, I hate to put him at my least, but just like the decision I could imagine my life with this person and kids and like escaping and when you're free, I'll go with you I don't know, that piece of information doesn't really seem important. I know it's like your bestie, and I know that like the king is like a little suspicious, but I'm just not going to tell you. And I did not appreciate that level of communication just because of how much Selena is willing to do for Kale. It's like, Kale, bro, the bare minimum. The bar's on the floor.
Bottom of the barrel, man.
Just tell her. Like, I get it. Obviously, this is a choice on Sarah J. Maas's part, so that's why I'm not harking on Kale too much. I do like him as a character, but for this section, I'm just gonna give him that.
So you hate Reese also, right?
A Court of Silver Flames, Reese, yes.
Yeah, because it's very Nesta and Cassian, and it's very Reese and Era, oh god.
Okay, one thing I'm gonna say, because obviously this is not that guitar's thing, but maybe we're gonna have to reread them at some point and go over it. But just the fact that like Farrah's like never keep information from me ever again. She was so pissed off about the whole mate situation. She like stormed off in a cabin for days, and then Reese like doesn't tell her that she's like probably gonna die in childbirth, and like she's just like, oh, I'll talk with him.
Well, they are gonna die. They have a death pact. So
yeah, but you're not
when
gonna tell
one
her?
dies, the other one dies also. So not only would she be dying, their entire family, baby included, would be dying.
Yeah, sure. She's not gonna tell her that. Like he doesn't like give her any authority in that scenario.
Not only would they be losing all of their family, right? But then you also got to keep in mind that means their entire court would be heirless. So who the fuck would take over the court? Probably Moore, right? So that also puts Moore at a disservice because Moore is going to be shoved into the thing where she's got to deal with Daddy all the time, and then she's going to be in a position of power over Dad. Like that's a cascading issue.
That's true.
That impacts at least half a dozen people, if not the entire court, and therefore the entire continent. What an irresponsible decision.
Yeah, and it would be totally terrible to tell Farrah about that in advance, so you could possibly make a contingency plan and have some, like, you know, control over the last moments of your life. But I won't go on that any longer.
It's fine.
Sarah, we have some words for our guitar, but maybe we'll get there one day. What about you, Purple? Do you have like a least favorite, a favorite? Like what are you feeling?
My least favorite, I want to say that it's Archer,
Okay.
because he came out the woodwork fucking lying, and I don't fuck with a liar.
You mean like Nehemia? Sorry.
Excuse me, 911?
Fight me.
Nehemia came out the gate as a liar too.
Oh my.
You don't
I'm getting in my
speak
car.
English, Nehemia?
Oh my.
Wow.
Listen, listeners, I need you to roast Cuddle. Please send me DMs, Blue Cromwell, Instagram, Twitter, wherever it is, and I will read them in the next podcast. Watch, they all agree with you.
I'm gonna make a T-shirt. This is Nehemia's the real BBG.
No, bro. Literally, the police are on their way. I'm on my way over.
Sorry, Purple. Keep going. I'm sorry.
So, my favorite is, oh my god. Oh, okay, I remember. So I have a favorite and I have an honorable mention.
Okay.
Honorable mention, I think, has to go to Raina Goldsmith because that was a boss ass way to fucking go. Like, I'm just gonna keep fucking talking, telling you about all the people you fucking and
So good.
This wasn't just like they worked for years to 10 years. She said on page 120 at the end of chapter 15, I have worked for 10 years to become famous enough to gain an invitation to this castle. So that is fucking revenge of the lifetime, literally, because she gets dead. But god damn, like powerful fucking way to go. That's my runner up.
That's your runner up. Okay.
That's my runner up.
Okay.
I think my favorite character right now has got to be Philippa.
Oh.
Because she, in her own way, is already a badass motherfucking bitch. She fucking knows all the tea. She knows all of the things, does all of the things, never once questions anything, never spills any of the tea. Fucking just always there and always on her side. And I feel like that takes a special kind of somebody to give that kind of dedication and discretion. And I think that of all of the people we have been introduced so far in this book series, the one that loves her the most right this exact moment is Philippa. And she doesn't want anything from her. She's just there, taking care of everything. And I feel like that really deserves recognition because she's never going to get it anywhere else.
Fair enough.
If I'm not, but if I was doing Bay of the Day, Philippa would be Bay of the Day.
Yeah, that's fair.
So what do you guys think that like the overall theme of this book so far is? I know before we've had a couple of different ideas. What would you say? So of the book and then of the series?
I mean, I still agree that there's still the overall theme of freedom and its importance, and that's why Nehemia tried to get Selena to fight for other people's freedom, not just her own. But I think that that's a theme throughout the entire holy text, if you will. As far as anything from this particular section, nothing really. Maybe this is a problematic theme that I'm picking up, but maybe the hey man, sometimes people gotta die to incite some social change. No, I'm just playing. So sometimes it's okay to fuck everything up, and that's good. Maybe that's the theme.
Unless you're redecorating someone's room. Then maybe don't fuck everything up.
No.
I think it's more about loyalty and
to
consistency. Figure out where your loyalties lie. And then staying consistent to them. Also, communication.
No, we're not doing that. It's a nice idea.
I think we have a talk with Sarah and be like, look, man.
You want to have a talk about communication skills?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to work. It's a nice idea.
Here, I was just gonna say that, sex and that was it.
That's theme.
That's all I had.
Which is fade to black anyway.
Why is it really black?
We're really diving in deep here. Sex.
Listen, I need details.
Yeah.
Page 201. Chapter 24. They're going into a closet. So who? Well, how? Tell me more. I want to know more. Are we going first of all, is this 10 things I hate about you going into a closet? Or is this more like Den of Vipers going into a closet? I need to know what is happening.
I need to know how they wedged a broom beneath the handle.
It's probably one of those,
because the handle is how does that doesn't make any sense.
It was a knob.
Well, then how would that make it?
Listen. Doesn't matter.
Fade to black.
Fine.
The details are blurry. Yeah.
Does it smell like cleaning supplies?
Yeah.
What
maybe
kind
the
of
theme.
cleaning supplies do they even have?
Oh my god. Maybe the theme so far is you can show violence and gruesome gore and everything, but
show sex.
Yeah, no, that's disgusting. Obviously it's young adult and everything, so I'm half kidding, but there's also an irony there for how I view the world, and I'm like, okay, so seeing Princess Nehemia described as this is fine. But I
want to know everything.
Yeah.
I want to know how big it is. I want to know how good he is at it. I want to know who's the top. I want to know who's the bottom.
I just feel I don't know. I mean, she's a virgin.
Are they kinky?
Would she even
I need to know.
I don't know. Yeah, it leaves a lot of details, though. I will be honest. I'm really glad I didn't have to read an awkward 3 minutes of that first occurring and her losing her maidenhead, so to speak.
I will agree
I would have probably skipped that section, no matter how steamy it got eventually, because how dare you make me read that with my own eyes? I have had enough. No, thank you.
Just read it with the eye of Elena. It's fine.
Oh my god. Goofy.
On that note, I do have one slight unanswered question.
Okay.
I have two.
About the Eye of Elena.
Oh.
Like the one in the actual tomb? Or
left or right or
the third eye, if you will. No, so she's so dead set on the necklace being, the thing. But what about the sword? Because didn't that say you see truth because of the sword or whatever?
Yeah, there was some mention of truth and the symbol on the
being
sword.
able to see it. So why didn't she fucking try something with the sword instead of just being set on it being the necklace?
Because she was like, man, I can't spend more than 20 minutes on this. I gotta go get laid.
Well, she would be terrible in an escape room. So
to be fair, she's more of an assassin than she is a puzzle master.
I mean, that's probably true.
But I can see that being an answer question. What about you, Cuddle?
Do you guys think that when they're looking in and they're seeing the wall, I thought that was the wall of another room, That's how I read that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
You think that other room is dungeon with the iron door?
Where the quote unquote rat is?
Rat. Yes, where the rat.
Wrath-you, if you will.
Yes,
Wrath-you.
he's a Gouda boy.
That could be. Yeah, I can see that.
It'd be interesting.
It'd be nice. I want to know what's going on there. So another unanswered question for sure.
So I have two big unanswered questions. The first one is, well, I have a statement and then I have a question that goes along with that statement. And that the statement is, fuck Roland. I don't trust him.
No.
Okay, yeah.
And mostly I don't trust him because of their friendship rings. And I want one of the friendship rings.
Yeah. They're just like ours.
Yeah, I know.
For all of our listeners here, we do have friendship rings between all three of us.
Yeah. And they're awesome because they say, straighten your crown, you're a badass. But listen, why do they have friendship? I want to say bracelets. I want to have a friendship bracelet. Like, I think that's so cool. Like, they kind of stole our thing, and that's a little annoying, but I don't trust Roland as far as I can throw him.
Rude.
And, yeah, rude. Second thing is, other than the friendship rings, I think we got a lot of information on Dorian's
Little brother?
family.
Uh-huh.
And if you turn to page 176, 177 in the scripture, chapter 22, it talks about how Dorian is going through his genealogical records, and he finds that he is part of the Galathinius line. And pretty sure we have stated that that's probably going to be the heir, who is Selena. So they're fucking related.
No.
And they knew each other.
That's not how I took it, because it says Elena is the daughter of Terrason's first king, so that's a whole different kingdom.
Right. But that lady, Elena, hooked up with Dorian's ancestor, Gavin, and started their family line. Gavin Heviliard. Dorian Heviliard.
Yeah.
So Elena is like his great grandma. Right? But you have the Galathinius line, which is King Brannon, and Elena happens to be a branch on that tree, but there is other branches, right? Which would mean, technically, if I'm not mistaken, they're like great cousins. If I'm right.
Wow.
Well,
Great cousins.
That actually means that they could probably get married then.
Well, he does.
As
So
far
then
as,
he also
royal
says
shit is concerned.
that he knew the heir, Aelin.
He met her once, right?
Met her, yeah. And she was precocious, wild, and then sent her nasty, brutish older cousin on him in order to teach Dorian a lesson for spilling tea on her dress. So I would love to know who Adian is, or Adian? Whatever. How much you want to bet that Dorian and fucking Selena / Lillian /
Alentia
/ potentially, possibly, probably Aelin were like childhood best friends? Not really. And that bothers me. It does say that, like, what would she have been? My wife? And I was like, no, she's with Kale. Leave her alone.
Well, they break up like a minute later, so.
Yes.
I still don't know if I really ship her with Dorian either, but we'll see. But yeah, that'd be interesting. The older cousin. I hate this too. But what if that's not actually like a relative? Because she never mentions it either. I almost would like, because I don't hate the trope of like that. Oh my god, we met once as kids. Blah blah. Like that's cute, and like that can be used in a lot of different like romance things. Cross genres. But I like the old, I like the protector idea. As long as it's not her actual blood first cousin. I just feel like we would have probably, I don't know, acknowledged that at some point.
I wonder if the age difference actually tracks though, because didn't he say she was like 6?
Let's see. I have the chapter open here.
And then she was 8 whenever her parents got.
Well, that makes sense.
He met her once. I'm sorry, on page 177, just that same little section.
Mm-hmm.
He had met her once in the days before her kingdom became a charnel house. So
What's a charnel house?
I don't know, but
the memory was hazy, precocious. Wow.
A vault or building where human skeletal remains are stored.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a fucked up way to say that, but okay.
So does that mean that it was days before her parents got? So she was 8. So she should definitely super duper remember this, unless we're saying that she like legit blocked out her entire 8 years old previous.
Well, that's trauma, baby.
Because of the dead parent thing. Because you're I mean, if we're going with actual human brain functions, like you start having long-term memory develop at like age 5. So there's at least 3 years of memory that she should have.
I'm not seeing where it says her age.
I thought it was like 6.
I'm not seeing any numbers.
She's 18 now. 10 years ago, her parents died, which would have been 8.
Right.
And this says days before her kingdom became gross and full of dead people. So that would mean that she's probably about 8, if we're assuming it's the same person.
Perhaps. I just think where it says, like, he met her once in the days, yada yada, like, that doesn't mean... I don't think that means literally, like, in the days, like, in the week of. I think that means, like, in the age. In that time. I didn't take that as a literal...
Like a turn of phrase?
Yeah. Not so much in the literal, like, 3 days before they were massacred. I took that, like, the better days, the good old days, kind of. And that leaves it a little bit more open for that kind of time frame and that kind of memory. But I wouldn't be surprised at the same time if Selena did block that out because trauma.
PTSD.
Yeah. So that could very much be, but I took it a little less literally, I guess. But that's definitely an unanswered question, this whole section, really. Like, is she the heir? Probably pretty sure she is. What's going on there? Have they met before? Does she remember that? Like, who is this cousin? Like, there's a lot going on here. I still want to know, personally, for Princess Nehemia, what exactly got her from Chapter 25, Sacrifice vibes, to where we find her. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, like the king's involved, this queen is involved. So did she die ahead of time because she knew the king was going to kill her? And then, again, he decimated her body, like, posthumously, as almost like a calling card to, like, be like, Selena, I know what you're doing. Like, is that like I don't know. They might never address it again. It might kind of be over, as far as, like, the exact details in that type of sense. Not really the loss or the grief, but I think that's one of my questions. It's just like, wait, so what happened? Did she have to die like that? Did she, like, die beforehand? Was Elena there? Like, was she involved? Like, what? What's going on there? Just give me point A to point B in that moment, and I'll be okay.
One other thing that really stands out to me that I'm leaning into is on page 209, chapter 26, right in the beginning. This is whenever they're doing the hunt thing. They're talking about the king whenever he says, "You're distracted today, Captain." The king said as he emerged from between the trees. He was massive. The king's size always surprised Carol for some reason. So, I mean, it mentions a few times in here and in chapters previous and in the last book. It keeps mentioning that this is like he a big boy. He a big dude. He's bigly. It makes me wonder if their friendship rings and their nefarious goings on are making him his big boyness like Cain was.
Yeah, I can see that.
Didn't Cain consume people to get big?
Didn't he feed them to the Ritterak and then use the power for the Ritterak to gain that muscle? I don't think he himself consumed it.
Well, they're messing with all sorts of
Did the king
nefarious
kill
goings
Nehemia
on
to get her word mark skills? Like instead of physical strength? I mean,
I
though he
just
has
feel
been killing
like
people though, so.
I just feel like doing your homework would probably be more effective.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
There's another thing that we haven't quite thought of.
Sure.
Maybe he works out.
It's it's called Part 2, The Queen's Arrow. So
I have an interpretation for that. For me,
I was just going to ask a bunch of questions.
And it might not be what I think it is at all, but I kind of interpreted that as like the queen is involved some way of this sacrifice with Nehemia, right? And I think she's using that to set Celaena's course. So Celaena is the queen's arrow, and that is the metaphorical pulling of the string and setting her on that path.
Maybe. Wait, no. The dude's name is literally Archer.
Oh my god.
Boom, I cracked the code. You're welcome.
Nice try, Sarah. We got your number. Yeah, that's how I interpreted it. Like, he's
gonna throw something and it's gonna belong to the queen. Done. Case closed.
Mm-hmm.
Book over, I win.
So this
I am day of the day.
This book is called Crown of Midnight.
Yeah.
We haven't really even talked about crowns, really.
Well, what's her face had a crown? John Wick.
Baba Yaga.
So I'm interested to see how we're going to weave in this idea of the Crown of Midnight. So that way the title makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The title of the next book is Heir of Fire. So I feel like we might not even really get a resolution to the identity until either the very end of this book or in the third book. Because that kind of would make sense to me thinking of heir, and we're talking about the heir of Galathinius line. So that might be where third book comes into play. But I have no idea where this Crown of Midnight idea is. We're 2/3 of the way through the book. So unless we're in true Sarah fashion, going to be diving headfirst into some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Is this where she develops this habit?
Last 100 pages go crazy.
What was the crown that John Wick was wearing?
Stars. Crown of Stars.
I guess that could be midnight when stars are out. Did you guys have anything that you... Go ahead.
Really quick. If you go back to chapter 11, page 85, it says, Aelin Galathinius is dead, she breathed. Archer shook his head. They don't think so. They say she's alive and that she's raising an army against the king. She's looking to reestablish her court to find what's left of King Orlan's inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think that maybe these people, because now Archer, knowing what we know now, do we think that they thought it was Nehemia?
That they thought Nehemia was the heir of
Because
Terrasen?
Nehemia was raising the army. She was looking to establish the court.
Well, I think she was doing that knowingly, trying to pass it on to Celaena. I think she probably figured out who she was.
But do these
I
people
think it was like on her behalf? So they don't know that it's Selena Gomez. They just know that Nehemia knows the person.
Do we think it's Selena? We don't actually know for sure.
True.
Oh, we know for sure. Shut up.
We're pretty damn sure, but that's true. We don't have actual confirmation yet.
Princess Nanana was doing it for Selena Gomez on Selena Gomez's behalf, but Archer doesn't know that Selena Gomez is the person. He's just saying, "Hey, guess what? I'm friends with Princess Nanana, who is friends with."
Okay,
the lady.
hold on.
Yeah.
I have the perfect sentence. Just throw it in your guys' faces that Nehemia is actually a bad guy.
Look off.
Same page, a little bit later on, it says, Nehemia had sworn to never lie to her. If she'd known anything, she would have said it.
Communication.
Booyah. Booyah.
Selena's
Didn't say
gullible.
anything, and she was literally talking to her about it that morning.
She didn't lie to her. She just excluded information.
That's omission.
That's not lying.
I'm a little sad that the clock doesn't scream anymore. Now it chimes.
Maybe it'll come back.
Where was the creepy thing in the hallway?
Was that even this book?
That was before this section, so I think chapter 12, 13. If I remember right.
Nope. Page 43. I wanted to see what... Because what I'm also noticing, since
Was
Dorian...
it described as ancient?
Dorian had made things cold.
Okay.
Right? Or at least every time magic is mentioned, it gets cold. Or even every time magic is hinted. Or when Dorian's around, it's cold. I was just curious to see if in this
he's
section...
not the heir of fire.
Yeah, I don't... I'm not seeing anything talk about... Oh, no, it says with the chill tonight.
Smoke and shadow.
Later on, when we got more information from Baba Yaga, I kind of assumed this was one, how she said, like, some fae were, like, stuck, like, in their half animal forms or animal forms. That's kind of what when I went back, I was like, oh, I think that's probably what this thing is.
Dude, how fucking funny would it be if it was Azrael? Just saying. Just putting that out there. I mean, it did sniff her, so probably not. But it would be pretty funny.
Not a big Azrael
No,
move.
it's Carol whenever she is sad.
Oh my god.
He just wants to sniff her.
Face. Do you guys have a character that you feel like you identified with in this section?
The singer. That's kind of loaded. But I feel like if somebody had seriously wronged me that hard, I would like to think that's something that I would do. I would play the long game, fuck them over as much as possible, and then like put it in their face, and then die with my head held high.
Sure. I like that. I think that's a really good way to view yourself. I think that's a good choice.
Well, we know it's not Princess Nanana.
I think I'm gonna have to say Selena, but I hate that for me. Because personal growth sucks.
Yeah.
I hate
Ew.
But you're like hella fast, so it all works out. And you're the one that they should be afraid of.
I guess I see a lot of her struggle, and I get it. I think that's probably why I dislike Nehemia so much, at least in this section, because it's like she's going through a lot, and I can understand going through a lot and having a lot on your plate and having to transport yourself to another place to do horrible things, and I don't know. I guess I just get it, and it sucks. And then having to be like, drop everything and help me. It's like, bitch, I'm going through enough. So I think probably her.
Sure.
I don't think of myself as the main character.
You give us such
All right.
main character energy.
That was my opinion on Selena. I will say it doesn't reflect on you. And I will say I also picked Selena as my character I'm most identified with as well. A little bit different section, and it's more of a smaller point. Though I've definitely needed to be called out on my bullshit before. So yeah, I'll lump that in there. And this is more of like, obviously the context. This is chapter 32, about page 247 in the Holy Scripture. And the fact at the very end there, she is repeating Nehemiah's last conversation with her to herself, right? You are nothing more than a coward. So Selena didn't get out of bed that day, and she didn't get out of it the next or the next or the next. That's something that a lot of our neurodivergent, spicy friends can probably relate to, as far as the depression, the resting all day, the hiding within yourself. The idea that we have seen Selena's love language be acts of service and quality time, and the main way that she's hurting herself in this sense is like just to deprive herself of those things, to isolate herself, and to become depressed and lay in bed all day. Unfortunately is a very relatable thing. She's guzzling down sedatives. She's, going through all this. And I feel like, unfortunately, again, being in that depressive episode, being someone who has to take something to help deal with the pain, which I don't advocate for, please find healthy ways, to try and deal with that. There are other options than, as Sarah says, guzzling down sedatives. But I think a lot of us can relate to that scenario. So I picked Selena on that emphasis. I was like, girl, we both sad. So I know we... Oh, sorry. Purple, did I cut you off? Did you have one you identified with? You already said the songwriter. Never mind.
Oh, yeah. No, I said the singer person. Just because of the dedication to the cause and Just the pride in
Yeah.
carrying it through. It just speaks to me.
100%.
I do have an extremely strong desire to lecture every single character in this book that does not communicate with each other. Like I just want to smack them in the face and just fucking communicate. God damn it! Fucking communicate, sons of bitches.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same. Not really any standout, but it's just like everybody. It's like, can you just please
just talk to each other? Dear gods, if you don't make me come in there.
Enters the entire universe.
What do you think, Cuddle?
Fucking Mort.
You want to lecture Mort?
God, like,
for not being helpful?
If you could just, say things that were helpful, the book would go a lot faster.
Stop being fucking cryptic.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
You mean you want him to communicate?
Yeah.
Well, I'm predicting for the rest of the book that that's not going to happen. I think Kale and Selena will never recover. I think everyone's communication will only get worse. I think we're getting to a boiling point where like Dorian's not communicating the magic thing. Like a lot is happening. So those are my mains.
Kudos to Dorian, by the way, for not completely rejecting it. Like he did in the beginning, was more scared of it, but I think now he's seeking answers, and that takes balls, it takes guts.
Yeah.
So especially in the thing, and he's basically just been like, "Yeah, fuck my dad, bro." And while I don't trust that Dorian has his support of the cousin, is fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He's not the best judge of character.
No.
He doesn't like him.
But he was like, yeah, I guess he's an okay guy. He's been standing by me this whole time.
It's a cautious optimism, I think.
Ew. That's just, no.
Well,
I want to see Dorian happy, Like,
I mean, I don't want him to be unhappy. I just don't want him to be stupid.
The character you call Prince Douchery, you're like all for them to have a happy ending.
Not with Selena Gomez.
Okay. Well, they can get married now. They're establishing the royal lineage.
No.
Okay, marriage. Okay, marriage as a teenager when you just lost your virginity like 3 months ago. Just kidding. I don't think that's gonna happen. Maybe though. But I don't think Dorian or Kale are for her. So
she should just marry herself.
I don't have any idea what the rest of the book is going to look like.
Yeah.
And that's kind of crazy. Like, I have no idea what the major plot points are going to be, what kind of conflicts they're going to look. I know they're going to try to talk about the death, of Nehemia some more, but I know Kale is going to have to at some point confront Selena. But other than those two things, I have no idea what the rest of the book even has in it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is getting right into that. If you guys have, any of our listeners have read through Sarah J. Maas before, you know that those last couple chapters, those last 100 pages just become an absolute landslide of, you can't put the book down. Things are happening way too quickly. It's very chaotic. So we're getting into that territory for sure.
But it's almost hard to predict what things specifically they're going to go and do and what they're going to save for future books. Because I can see her saving most of those things for future books. So I don't actually know what we're going to talk about in this one.
There's like 4 other books after this, I believe. As far as I think Assassin's Blade is a prequel. So as far as further on, there's like only 4 more books, really. But so she's got to spread that out over 4 books. So at this point, all I know is that R.I.P. your boy Kale. R.I.P. that relationship. Shit happens.
Purple, did you have a prediction?
I do, but I want to know what you guys think before I disclose it. In the scriptures on page 225, this is whenever they're in the warehouse and she is, like, talk me into not killing you. The old man who had exposed his face to her was staring with a mixture of awe and disbelief, and she wondered what sort of monster she looked at that moment. But when he noticed her attention, he bowed his head to her and left with the others, taking that impulsive brash guard with him. What do you guys make of this little paragraph?
That could lead into like the whole magical transformation-y kind of like a rage transformation kind of moment. It could. It definitely could. She could just have a face that says, I'm not fucking around today. And he was like, all right, well, peace.
Watch that be like a guy from the Terrason court who recognized her. Yeah.
That could be interesting. Yeah, it would be
I was thinking that he recognized her for being the heir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like because we actually got a description of him on 230 or 223, saying that he pulled off his hood and mask to reveal a face that matched his ancient voice. There's that word again. Short, cropped white hair, laugh lines along his mouth with crystal clear gray eyes that were wide with pleading.
Probably like her uncle or something. Or maybe like another, like a distant family member. Okay.
Do we think that's possibly her cousin?
No, I don't. Okay, here's why I don't think that, because I was actually super excited. Okay, so it says on page 177, when we were talking about Dorian in looking at the genealogical records.
Right, yes.
And he was remembering that he met Aelin Galathinius once upon a time, and then he started talking about the cousin, right? So he says at the very bottom of 177, of course, as fate would have it, her cousin wound up being or becoming Adian Ashriver, his father's prodigy general and the fiercest warrior in the north. He'd met him a few times over the years, and at each encounter with the haughty young general, he'd gotten the distinct impression that Adian wanted to kill him. I think that the big swishy swoosh boy, angry, is Adian, her fucking cousin.
Well, wouldn't he have recognized her?
Maybe that's why he stared at her in awe. Like maybe he did recognize her, but not after a while. I mean, he hasn't seen her since she was 8. It'd probably take a second.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Do you look the same as you did when you were 8?
Exactly the same.
Exactly
the same height.
Literally, the person is the same.
Literally, the exact same.
But they said that he was, because Kale took the time to describe him, right? So they described him as, they said he was intelligent.
223. No, 222. Guarded and taunting him all day.
I'm going back
nearby.
to 217.
Oh.
Yeah, the chapter before.
Oh, where Kale describes him.
When Kale describes him.
Oh, you mean this section here where he says by his voice he could have been anywhere from 20 to 40?
Yeah, that part. But he also describes him as, because he says a coward or a pragmatist. So then 218, he says not an uneducated warrior then. Someone with schooling, if he could have vocabulary like that, which would have happened for someone who was of royal blood. Then he also says one of them, tall, with 2 swords crossed over his back, approached. Even though his face was obscured, Kale recognized him by his weapons as one of the men who had beaten him earlier. He was a warrior. Kale could tell by the way he moved.
Maybe he's a love interest.
But he says that he hated royals.
So does Selena.
Maybe specific royals. The ones who killed his family.
Yeah, and she does describe him as an old man, but he says 20 to 40, so that's a very tall. There's a very large range. Interesting.
So maybe because whenever the old guy goes away, he took the guard with him. So maybe that is one of her family members, and like that's maybe his dad or something. It's like her uncle. Yeah. So I think that those two people are going to be related. That's my prediction. I think those two are related to her in some way. And that was why Princess Nanana was talking about bringing back that specific court. And because she didn't even talk about like raising up her own people. She's talking about their specific court. She says that several times where she's like, their court. If their court was still around, not like, no, we're really awesome. We can do this ourselves. So I feel like she was piecing together,
Like her
you
family?
know, her family, her relations, and bringing them together. And I wonder how many of those she just murdered.
Yeah. Sorry.
My bad. I'm
Family
literally covered
reunions.
in my own family reunions.
It could be. I don't imagine she has a shit ton of family just because it seems like her parents go, and then obviously the kingdom's kind of taken over. I mean, obviously people could have scattered, though. But wouldn't have someone, I don't know, been next in line? But I guess the whole kingdom was taken at that point, so.
Do we think Archer is a member of her family?
No.
Or was he just connected?
I think he was just working with Nehemia.
I suppose he's part of her assassin family.
Sure. Yeah,
What about Assassin Daddy?
Yeah, when are we seeing him? I want to see him so bad, dude.
I just need more.
Yeah.
I think right now, after we've talked about all of these things, the biggest weight on my mind, Blue.
Uh-huh.
I need the Bay of the Day.
The Bay of the Day, huh? Cuddle's most anticipated section of the podcast here.
I gotta go. I got somewhere to be.
I mean,
gotta
I could
be
make
right
it easy.
here.
I could pick Baba Yellow Legs for you. Queen. Braces, Queen. No, I don't know. Maybe Bay of the
John
Day
Wick.
is the random old man / who's not old, who's somewhere between 20 and 40. No, but actually, well, you know, in her honor,
right now with that age range being called old.
to an 18-year-old, sorry, 19-year-old, she's 19 right now. That would be what she would probably consider old, unfortunately.
Hence being ancient.
All that she's really seeing in her rage is fucking white hair. So I think she's just like, wow, old. And it's like, no, he might just have white hair. Like, he might not actually be old, because she doesn't really get a clear look at him. But, you know, we have to give it to Nehemia. It's probably the last time we're ever going to be able to, unless she somehow faked it.
What, being in pieces?
Yeah.
Ribbons, one might say?
Magic or something. Something like that. But yeah, I think she gets Bay of the Day. She's trying her best. You know, she's leading a rebellion, or was. She genuinely cared about the common people and the majority, and how many people have become victims in the system, rather than, you know, maybe like one or two other characters.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a pretty good trait for a royal, for a princess. That's probably priority number one. Plus, she just is hot.
What?
I mean, for a while, yeah. R.I.P.
Not now. No.
No, it's art, remember?
Right. But she, I mean, I know we joked half on and off, but we're like, is Selena going to kiss Nehemia? Why are we looking at each other intently? Like, why are things going? So Nehemia has always been a baddie. But, you know, since it's my Bay of the Day, Cuddle, I'm sorry to do it to you, but Nehemia, she's that bitch. She's that
Does
girl.
she take the cake?
A piece of it. Maybe
A piece of
multiple
our
pieces.
hearts.
I hate it here.
All right.
Maybe the real Bay of the Day are the friends we made along the way.
I'm gonna make a Bay of the Day t-shirt, and I'm gonna make a Nehemia's the BBEG. I'm gonna make that as a t-shirt.
So
I'm gonna
everyone
put it in
listening,
quotes. Say, quoted by Blue.
absolutely do not check out Dual Minds Co. on Instagram, where these hateful designs are being spread. In all seriousness, though, these two have been making some wonderful designs. There's a lot of Akatar themed stuff. There's a lot of Throne of Glass themed things, as far as planner sheets, different clothing pieces that these two have worked really hard on. So always want to shout out Dual Minds Co. on Instagram, because Cuddle and Purple have been putting in that work. Otherwise, we want to thank you guys for listening. This has been Smutty Scriptures, and we're reading Crown of Midnight, the second Throne of Glass novel, to chapter 34. The next episode, we are going to be diving into basically the rest of the book, which should be about chapter 55. So this book will have about 3 episodes total. You'll see updates, and you'll see that I'm posting this and giving you all notifications on the Blue Cromwell Instagram and Twitter pages. Which is probably... 56 chapters, nice. But that's probably where you've heard of this podcast in the first place. So by all means, keep looking there for updates, and we just want to thank you guys again for being here.
Thank you.
Amen. Church is adjourned.
Amen.
Amen.